Joining us now is explorer Fred Hagen. He visited the Titanic wreckage twice aboard the submersible now missing. Thanks so much for coming on the show. Appreciate it. So I got to ask you just the big picture question first. Do you think that this vessel is safe?
No one ever said the vessel was safe, and Stockton Rush never said it was safe. So I get the concerns now. There's been an emergency. There's been a catastrophic failure, and there's a tendency to look back, and the tone is, oh, it's got camp parts. It's unreliable. No one ever said it was safe. Stockton Rush didn't say it was safe. Everyone that participated signed an agreement or signed a acknowledgement that they could die or be grievously injured. So the fact that you use a game controller does not mean anything. This is a sophisticated, state-of-the-art piece of equipment, and it was operated quite efficiently with a game controller. So I'm not sure what the point is. I understand where you're going with that because there has been a catastrophic event, but no, I do not think that it was poorly planned. I think it was an inherently risky operation, and it was very dangerous. No one ever said it wasn't. In fact, the opposite was true. We were told repeatedly that we could be facing death or serious injury if anything went wrong.
Well, but they do invite journalists to come on. There's a guy who's on there right now who brought his son, his 19-year-old son, as well.
Yeah.
You do wonder, and again, you know better than me, right? This is the first time I'm hearing about this. You're an expert on this. I'm not. But when people say it's dangerous, you've got to accept the risks, et cetera. Anytime someone goes skydiving, right? Someone says, hey, there are risks, et cetera, right? This feels like what you're saying is this is a heck of a lot riskier than that.
This is a heck of a lot riskier than that, but I'm going to pose a question to you.
Yeah.
Mankind would never have advanced if they didn't accept risk. We're trying to explore inner space here. And Stockton Rush is a visionary that saw the future at the bottom of the ocean. And he basically realized his dream. And the fact that he's taking people to the bottom of the ocean is not just simply a game. These aren't tourists. Everybody keeps saying these are tourists. It's a tourist. It's not a tourist hub. These are serious people that want to contribute to the science of deep ocean exploration. And they're contributing their funds and their time and their resources to do so. Because the future of this world and our efforts to combat climate change are intimately intertwined with the ocean floor. You've got lithium there. You've got all the elements that will power the green economy that we are pursuing. And we have to be able to access it safely without desecrating the ocean floor. That's the vision of people like Stockton Rush. If we were unable to accept risk as a society, we would still be paddling canoes in open water. We would never learn to sail across oceans. We would never have gone into outer space. It's just risky. And I know that, and I know it's horrifying that a father and son are down there. Last year when I went, a father and son went with me. And there are people that I know. And P.H. Nargeolet is one of the most wonderful people I've ever met. And I suffer intense pain just thinking of them down there, freezing in the cold in a world of perpetual darkness. It's hard to think about. But that was a risk that they accepted and they took.
And let me say that he's on this trip, right? So Stockton Rush is there. So the proof is in the pudding to some degree about what you're saying. But isn't this still a tourist endeavor to get to see the Titanic? I mean, is that a mischaracterization of what this submersible does?
It's an oversimplification. Basically, you're taking the Titanic, which is one of the most iconic objects on the ocean floor, and you're using it to take people to see something they dreamt about seeing. They want to go. They want to spend their time and resources. They're willing to take the risk. I did it on multiple occasions. And yes, that is the realization of a lifetime fascination with the Titanic, which is the most iconic shipwreck of all time. Yep. And people are spending money to go there, but they're going as mission specialists. They're participating in a scientific mission to determine how quickly the ship is being eaten by bacteria, what the lifespan may potentially be, and they're participating in this scientific endeavor. Yeah. So you can call it tourism if you want, but it's really not. It's not like skydiving. It's not a momentary thrill. It's a serious and dangerous operation that they willingly participated in.
Fred Hagen.
So I disagree with your characterization.
Well, again,
I understand why you say it.
Yeah, I'm not trying to mock this. This is deadly serious stuff. I am in no way trying to sit here and say, how could they have done this? I don't know enough. I think I'm representing the layperson here, and you're representing someone who knows more about this, which is why we're having you on the show. My guess is some people would disagree with your characterizations, but nevertheless, hey, I appreciate you coming on the show. I appreciate you providing your perspective. Fred Hagen, thank you. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.